Looks like my jack-o'-lanterns aren't showing up very well. Oh well. He got the horns. He gets to have the horns. Or she. Or they. Or whatever the fuck. Welcome, Lockbeard Phenomena number 70. Exorcist House. It's November 12th, 2022. Saturday, 6 p.m. Central. Welcome, everybody. See who's in the chat. Mark standing by. Welcome, Mark. Mr. Lee, welcome. Sun shining and lawn's growing mad, says Mark. Yeah, your summer's starting down there, isn't it? Meanwhile, it seems like we're in winter now. Low tonight's going to be about 22 degrees, so it's going to be a little cold. Mr. Lee's girlfriend always complaining. Angel's here, welcome. Sander Piper's here, welcome. Can't see. Oh, Mark, I'm doing a live stream to both channels. I don't know if I'm always going to do it or not. It's just trying to build up the spare channel as far as watch hours, because that's where it seems to be lagging a little bit. I'm trying to claw my way up with that channel. The the main channel, Lockbeard, it's just called Lockbeard. I got 2 strikes on it. No chance of monetization anytime soon. And then, but on the other channel, there's no strikes. I'm at almost to 700 subscribers over there. The doing shorts over there is really getting the subscribers to show up. But I'm lacking in watch time, watch hours. I need to get that catching up. So I'm live streaming to both channels. So it's going on both channels. Which means like you're not going to see whichever channel you're on. Let me see if I can figure out which one you're on. Let me see here. It looks like you're on the main channel. And I see that, yeah, Sanders on the spare channel. Which, that's if you guys all want to gather on one channel, that's fine, if that makes it easier for you. You don't have to go get on the other. You don't have to get on the other channel. Some people watch the replay on the spare channel, and that'll be great. But most people are used to coming to the live stream on the main channel when it's live, at least. So if Sanders probably on the Achaeos Salisbury Lockbeard channel. But I have a feeling she might switch over to where you guys are once she figures out after hearing that. Angel says, I don't either unless she is on the other channel. Yeah. So it's going to be a little confusing during live because you guys aren't going to. Good evening, y'all. Help cats and kittens. Caps and kittens. What? Mr. Lisa Sander not showing up on my iPad, but I can see her on the big screen. Yeah, so hopefully that sorted that out. I think she's on the spare channel, but Sander, you can switch over if you want to the main channel. It also allows for me to back up the live stream on the spare channel just instantly while we're live. You know, so now it will back up also on the Rumble, Bitchute, and Odysee. As long as YouTube doesn't take it down too quick, it'll sometime in the next day or two, it should sync over onto those other platforms. But I definitely want to make sure that there's a backup somewhere. Although it is on StreamYard too, so I guess at least it's still on StreamYard. But I can only keep so many on StreamYard before I have to delete them to allow me to keep doing live streams. There's not much room there at all. I can't use it for storage. And my normal storage, I was paying for storage because I got thousands of hours of videos, and but I can no longer afford it, and I had to cancel my paid storage, and I deleted my backups that I was keeping stored there. Thousands of hours of video I had to delete because I just don't have room to store it anywhere, and I can't afford to pay for the service. So Angel says I'm on your main, but I can switch over to the other if that helps. It looks like everybody's already on the main channel. That's fine. Sandra's probably the only one on the spare channel, unless she's already come over. She says, "Okay, I'm here now." Initially says Angel Lockbeard needs subs on this one. I think all of y'all are, most of y'all are subbed on both channels. It looks, but at the rate things have been going, like one day I put up a short video, little 15-second videos, and it went pretty crazy with the views because for whatever reason it managed to get onto YouTube suggestions on the the feed or whatever, and people were seeing it. Thousands of people were seeing it and watching it, and so that one video, I can't remember which one it was, that one video resulted in 100 subs in one day. So the subs are going to come, but it's the watch hours that the spare channel is lacking. And I seriously need the channel to get monetized like yesterday, like last month. So, this is very time consuming stuff that I've been doing. I put many thousands of hours into YouTube, and I need to get to that point where YouTube's actually paying me. I hate to, talk money, but it's just where it's at. That's what makes it possible. You can't, there's only so much you can do, without getting paid. And especially when I'm having to pay for the Canva and the storage and all this stuff to make it happen. And of course your basic overhead, right? Subscribed on both. Mr. Lee says brain confusion. Why is your brain confused, Mr. Lee? What was going on? Sanders says hello to everybody. Jen's here. Welcome. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, you will get there, man. This channel is good. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I wish it would go faster, Mr. Lee. Finances are very, very tight. And I want to be able to do I'm lighting with the damn cell phone here. As winter's coming on, it's going to get colder and colder, so I'm operating in sub-freezing temperatures, and unless I can buy propane, which I can't right now. I just can't. I got a little propane heater. I just don't have propane. I don't really need it yet, but it is getting down to 22 degrees tonight. And in the summertime, you saw what was happening. It's hard on the equipment is what it is. Like, I endure it better than the equipment does. The computer just flat shuts down if it gets too hot. So things need to change financially to get it where I can be in a climate controlled studio, right? Better cameras, better lighting, um, uh, and be able to go places. Like, we were watching the Mogs the other night, and Mogs was talking to Raptor Crazy, who maybe he'll wander in here at some point. And unfortunately, the signal was bad and he was coming in and out. Everybody, I think, I would think everybody was just as enthralled as I was, right? I rag on stories a lot, but stories still have their place, and especially these ex-military stories. And my thought with people like him is that I need to be able to go to him. I need to be able to go to him, bring the necessary equipment, have him good, clear image and good, clear sound, and get his story. I don't know how old he is, but as these people, like the guy with this, we're talking tonight about the Exorcist house. From what I understand, the kid that was possessed, it was, well, if he was alive today, he'd be in his late 80s, I think. But he's dead. He died a few years ago, I think. And so no one will have an opportunity at this point to go and maybe convince him gently to, like, tell us, from your perspective. I've had many years to think about it. Maybe the memory's faded, but we need to hear this story. And maybe you can help someone else who's thinking about fucking around and finding out, like you did back in the day with these talismans, like a Ouija board. That is not something you just jack around with just to play. It's a serious thing. And of course, the board itself doesn't really matter, right? It's only an object. It's what your intention is and what you're trying to do with it. You yourself, your body is a talisman, but luckily, the only thing interacting with this reality through this talisman is you, right? Hopefully, normally. But you start getting other kinds of entities involved and shit gets fucked. So, yeah. I can't afford to just to do that yet, though. I can't drive to Raptor Crazy right now like I would like to, and get his story on camera, clear audio, clear image, and have it preserved for because I think we do need to preserve the stories that are being told. I'm just saying that the stories don't really prove anything either. We always have to remember that. So, yeah. So every moment wasted, that's why, like, the money needs to start coming in so I can do shit, because I don't see shit really get happening. Like, we're going to look at some people here in a little bit um um that went to this house, and it looks to me like it was just, again, it was TV, it was entertainment. They were, I don't think they were seriously trying to do shit, really. I really don't. Good, I can just 1,207 car just cost, yeah. Fucking everything's too expensive anymore. You can't hardly get by. You can't survive. Mr. Lee says it's been mild tonight, not sitting here freezing my nuts off. Yeah, I'm not yet, but it will be cold here later. 22 degrees is getting down where I'm like, okay, what the fuck. So I might have to get my second. Like usually in the wintertime, 2 blankets and I'm pretty good. But it's hard on these batteries. You shouldn't let your batteries get cold like that. Like I got backup battery and then the battery in the computer and and the phones and stuff like that. It's hard on the equipment. Like I need climate control and to preserve, because I'm afraid I'm going to break something. Warm pajamas and slippers. Jen says, "You meant the old buzzard over at Mogs?" Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Raptor Crazy called in too, though. Yeah, old buzzard. Thanks for. I got my wires crossed there. Here, why am I the only one in chat? Uncle Bones, you're on the spare channel. I'm live streaming to both channels, Uncle Bones. Old buzzard, yeah. Donald says, "Hi, folks. It's lonely on the other channel chat." Yeah, sorry about that, causing confusion. Yeah, switch channels. Yeah, if you ever, it looks like most people are on the primary channel, LOCKBEARD channel. I'm just live streaming to both. That way, the live stream is already backed up on the spare channel, and then people on rewatching on the spare channel will help contribute watch hours to that channel. Hopefully, where I can get monetized over there. Someone should put a note on the other one to come here. Yeah, y'all can do that if you want. Uncle Bon says, "Mr. Lee, it's not in my live chat or top chat." Hopefully, I'm kind of behind in the chat, ain't I? So hopefully y'all got them figured out. Low 50s tomorrow, cold front for us. We'll do it now. Mr. Lee's gonna do it. Brian Chewy, yeah. You guys are on the spare channel. You can come over to the regular LOCKBEARD channel if you like. I'm live streaming to both. Donald says, "Did you get the show idea from the share I sent you?" What share? I haven't looked at everything. It's over on Facebook, isn't it, Donald? I know you sent some stuff. Let me see here. You got. Oh shit! There's all kinds. You got damn. Florida Skunk Ape. Surfaces as a source of Widow Peak. Carson River Sasquatch. What do you looks like the biped? It looks like Sasquatch. Did you share something? Was it in the group, Donald? Was it a group share? Is it Clay Newcomb on TikTok? No, that's Michael. Michael shared that. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's just that the Exorcist house is it's not too horribly far. I mean, well, St. Louis, it's a few hours away, but it's a subject of interest for sure. And Ken Wheeler actually made mention of it yesterday on a video, so I decided to go ahead and tackle it. Go live. Used to it by now. Whatever channel you want to watch from is the right channel. Yeah, streaming to both channels. So If you guys want to gather on one, y'all figure it out if you like. So, how far behind am I in chat? Caught a few ghosts. Abdullah Hagar, want to sell them on eBay? I don't know if selling ghosts is it might not be a good idea if you. Junior ass, welcome to the chat, Abdullah. Yeah, well, I mean that's it. See, that's another thing that this might help us see is how YouTube is censoring. You know, there's just no excuse for me to have this to be climbing this slowly. You know, I've done LOCKBEARD Phenomena without fail every Saturday night at the same time. Well, I think there was one time when I was late, but for a year and a half, you know, and that's one of the, like, what the hell do they want from me? Along with the other stuff too, you know, random lives, which there's been more random lives than LOCKBEARD Phenomena. We're on like 109 now, and we're just on 70 for LOCKBEARD Phenomena. And then the shorter videos, the downloads, and then of course a few shorts recently, like really short ones. But try to keep the shorts on the spare channel to build it on shorts. Mr. Lee says Mr. Pat's show was good. I like the call-ins. Raptor KG, I enjoyed listening. Oh, what? Yeah, was it rap? See, I'm getting my wires crossed. Because I had to watch Pat's on the replay because I was so exhausted. I think I mentioned to you an email about how Mr. Lee about how my anxiety exhausts me sometimes, and it's just the only way to deal with it's to fucking pass out. So, yeah. Donald says, no, it was you today. It would have been a timeline channel share, different one than the other one. I sent it. Was from Connecticut and Georgia. A timeline channel share? Is it on Facebook? Or all I know is I'm trying to disengage from Facebook more. I deleted about 70% of my friends list, people I haven't talked to on Facebook in forever, and I don't. Yeah, I was just like, why the hell is some of these people here? So, and I left a bunch of groups on Facebook, and like I'm trying to gradually get off of there because, for one, like everybody, y'all need to know, Facebook's probably totally fucked. It's probably over. You know, they're doing more layoffs than Twitter, and people aren't giving him near as much shit as they're giving Elon Musk because the far left, you know how they are. You know, that if you're their guy, they'll give you shit about doing the same shit that their guy does. That's, you know, well, but there's different situations here. Twitter is going to blow up. Elon's going to make it efficient. He's getting rid of all the bullshit people that were doing nothing, but they had wine on tap at work. They were just fucking around. This is Democrat 101. I'm sorry some of you are Democrats, but this is how the whole damn thing is. Far lefties, you know, there's some sensible Democrats, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to necessarily get into a bunch of politics, but fuck. Anyway, they're all pissed off because now everybody can talk. Like, opposing viewpoints can talk. You couldn't before. They're trying to say he's attacking free speech. He's not. He is bringing free speech to Twitter, and everyone who has half a brain can fucking see it. But these far lefties are just screeching because they don't get to have control and dominion over you. They don't have control over you. They can't report your profile and shut your profile down and delete your messages. Like, it's all about power. They talk about you having power over them, like, men having a position of power over women or white people over black. But really what they're after is them having power over people who don't believe what they believe. Veterans Day video. Jess Board, welcome. Ida, welcome. Need to catch up in this chat because I'm not going to be able to keep up with this chat. Mr. Lee says, I understand you and anxiety. Man, it's debilitating, man. I can't do anything. I mean, I had to go into Walmart earlier. Fuck, man. Yeah, Facebook sucks. Yeah, that's why I put that new banner on Facebook. Like, I'm not rage quitting. It's not one of those crazy people. I'm going to quit Facebook, and then they sit back and watch, and then they don't go. I mean, I'm just giving everyone a chance to establish communications with me via email or text. Have my phone number maybe. I don't want a lot of people getting my phone number. So this I don't answer the fucking thing. Like, and usually I'm outside of cell range, but I'm just trying, I'm de-emphasizing Facebook more than I had. And I have been for a while, but look, it's going down. It can't survive. And I hope if I can put one of the nails in the coffin, I'll do it, man. Donald says it's been a Facebook messenger. It's about a house in Connecticut that had some crazy paranormal activity. I guess I'll have to go back to the messenger on Facebook and see. And I hate Twitter too. I'm going to actually show you where, because Ken's mentioned this house before, but he mentioned it again like yesterday, I think it was. And I'm going to show you that clip, that part of the video. Yeah, Twitter sucks, but I'm trying to use it to kind of get people to come to my channels. I'm not looking to get too sucked into Twitter. Yeah, fucking Facebook. They can do whatever they want. They're not going to be able to save Facebook. Facebook's going down. The younger generation don't even like it. And the older people are getting sick of being censored. Joe says, what's going on? Oh, shit, politics. I drew a penis on my ballot when I was forced to vote. That's probably the best option, Joe. Like, last presidential election, I didn't, it was the last time I voted, and I wasn't going to, but I did. I went ahead and cast the vote that my grandfather would have cast, and he had just died. So, but it doesn't matter in Oklahoma what you vote for. Oklahoma always goes for the Republican as far as presidents go, and it's winner take all. And plus, we have like Dick for electoral votes. But by the way, I'm going to do at some point a live stream where I'm going to try and lay out what Republicans look. You can't look. There's something they have to do. Republicans have to be prepared to do what they need to do to hold this country and not let it go the way of California and these other places that are getting completely fucked. You need to get serious. You need to be willing to make sacrifices, and I'll show the numbers about what I think needs to happen. And you know, the Republicans out there can listen to what I say or not, and Democrats, this can work the other way. I'm just saying, if the Republicans don't listen to me, maybe the Democrats will, because there's certain shit that both of y'all could do to make it to where the other party never, ever goes to the Oval Office again. If you do what I tell you to do, the other party will never win the Oval Office again. Over. It's done. It ain't happening. But that's a whole nother subject. Amityville House. Amityville House. Donald says, same couple that went to study at Amityville House did this one. Also, it was a funeral home before these people moved in. Mr. Lee says, I hate phones too. Yeah, something that makes me I can't stand talking on phones, Mr. Lee. I don't like it. Donald says, hello to Joe. Son that lived in the house. Jumped in the rabbit hole in the subject. Electronic voting computer. Yeah, those need to go. Those need to go away. It needs to be paper all the way. Every single ballot paper. Walk your happy ass into the poll. And make it a national holiday. So no one has an excuse I had to work, right? And that way that the absentee ballot's like a very rare thing that's used and it needs to be heavily monitored to make sure nobody fucks around. Because that shit going on in Arizona, somebody's fucking around over there. Guaranteed. Somebody's fucking around over there. Jen says, I have Facebook, no Twitter. It's kind of no interest in it, really. The only reason that's Facebook, keep in touch with a few folks. Yeah. That's why I'm like, alerted everybody that I was leaving, and the ones that respond, can respond. I put my email on there, so if they want to email me, they can email me. I'll see who wants to actually stay in touch with me. Donald says, I will send you the link in an email. Just that side, I had to vote because I didn't want someone getting the governor spot that would overturn marijuana legalization in New York, like the status quo is. Well, I wouldn't worry about that. Like, that's a lot. Like, there's a lot of Republicans that are on board with that, and a lot of the ones that weren't on board with it are seeing that society isn't fucking collapsing. And the ones that are left, like, people like me will try to explain to them. I say, look, I've never used it, never tried it. I never plan to try it. And, but the reality is by making it illegal, you make something that wasn't a problem into a problem. Now you're making drug cartels rich. Now you're driving it into the underground and all kinds of bullshit happens. It makes it worse. It doesn't. And that's for any drug. Every single drug, if you make it illegal, you actually make the problem worse in multiple ways. But some people don't want to think it through enough to understand that. Like I mentioned the dry counties. Some states have dry counties. You can't buy alcohol. So what happens? You have increased rates of hard drug use because in order to get alcohol, a lot of these people are buying alcohol illegally from people who also sell all these other illegal drugs. So they get more exposure to all these illegal drugs. And so making your county a dry county increases drug use. Way to go. You really you good job. Good job. That's good government. Good job. Green Paws Lockbeard is going to do some voodoo. I'm not doing that again. No more voodoo. No more voodoo. Sitting in the corner like a bad girl. Meredith's a bad girl? Why are you a bad girl? You're all right. If there, Jen says, yeah, Angel alternative Facebook, I'd probably use that, but can we bring back MySpace? I think MySpace is fucking done. Minds might do it. I don't know. If Elon has any sense about him, he will make Twitter where it's a more acceptable, like give it some features that maybe make it more acceptable to people who are on Facebook. Like it's got to be enough. Like he's supposed to be doing a lot of stuff with it, so we'll see what he does. I don't know, but Facebook's going to start collapsing, and Zuckerberg's net worth like dropped by $71 billion, I believe was the number I saw. He's lost more money. He's lost more net worth in the last couple of years, I guess, or in the last year, really, than fucking half the country combined, I guess. It's crazy. It's crazy. Search it later. Eyeball spin. But it wasn't all electronic. We had paper ballots, and then you put them into the machine if they had entered. Yeah. Yeah, and then you gotta trust that you gotta trust that it actually counts right. That's why I think there needs to be a live feed camera on there. Except if they want to cheat, they'll just cut the live feed out like they did somewhere. I hope you are keeping track of the look. If the live feed camera, look, I know glitches happen sometimes, but the live feed camera went out just at the time. Yeah. Cheating. Fucking cheating. They are cheating. Nobody's fucking stupid enough to think that they aren't. I hope not. The Democrats will claim different. And then they go and claim DeSantis is cheating. All right, no politics. Doesn't take much. Well, it's fucking, they're pissing me off. They're pissing me off. We still rolling? All right, this is some bullshit right here. Man, it seems so small. It's troublemaker. Facebook is a harbor of scammers. Yeah, there's a lot of scammers on there. Like I had one of my Facebook friends somehow ended up with like 5 different profiles with his name on. And they stole his picture, and then they were trying to get me, I can't even remember what it was. Some dumb shit. Mr. Lee. Once again, hopefully y'all can see that well enough. Let me go over on. Let me see if it's actually showing up. It's November 12th, 2020. Oh, fucking thing. Hold on a second. I probably shouldn't have done that. That's going to bog down the computer. Yeah. Well, it looks like you might be able to read it. It's pretty small. Anyway, Mr. Lee put this comment on there, and I kind of explained in the comments here below, responding to him what I was seeing. Mr. Lee posted, Lockbeard, you're having a show while I'm sleeping. Fantastic information. Doctor said I need liver transplant. Ha ha ha. No, just change diet, knuckleheads. Calorie counting BS. Thank you, Lockbeard. I responded because Mr. Lee sent me an email because this comment was not showing up on the video for him, and I hadn't seen it. So I responded. I said, Mr. Lee, I see this in my comments section in the YouTube studio. So when I went to YouTube studio, it was there. When I went to the video, the comment was not there. So anyway, but I do not see it under the video when I navigate there from my channel. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, I give up to commenting. I am still watching the show halfway through. Again, this kind of shit right here, it holds the channel down too, Mr. Lee. It's not just holding you back; it's also holding the channel down because you like, look, it makes you not want to comment because your comments are being censored. Other people don't see your comment, so they don't respond to your comment. They don't click like, they don't reply, and it hurts the channel too. So you see my problem. YouTube, I'm going to get monetized eventually. You might as well give up and let me get there. This needs to become a profitable thing. And you see what's going on with Twitter. You see Facebook collapsing. Fucking Disney's going. Disney's having problems, guys. Because all you fuckers are bringing, again, we're just talking about, we don't want politics involved with our shit. Well, take the politics out. Stop fucking with us. We just want to be free. We want to talk and be free and discuss our matters. So anyway, Mr. Lee says he's still watching the show halfway through. I responded. I said, Mr. Lee, okay, I can see it by navigating to this video from the email notification of your reply to me. So I didn't get an email notification of the first comment. I got an email notification of his reply to my reply. And then when I click on the email lets you click to go reply to that message. Then I can see it under the video where you're seeing it now. See, this is under the video, but if I navigate to this video in any other way but through that email link, this comment was not there. So I responded, okay, I can see it by navigating to this video from the email notification of your reply to me. So to check again, I went to another tab and navigated to this video from my channel again. And once more, I see only Junior's comment. I don't know why YouTube is censoring you, but I will show this on live stream again because YouTube can piss off. So that's what I'm doing right now. So, there's no way I'm catching up with the comments. So I'm skipping along. What? Okay. Green Paul says maybe we should talk voodoo. Susie's here. Welcome. Where's Susie at? Yeah, there she is. There's Susie. Just late for the show. Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Lee. They have a problem with your comments, man. Mr. Lee says, I have noticed that if I go to other people's comments and leave comments there, I can. And maybe that's how you can circumvent their bullshit. For whatever reason, YouTube keeps doing this to you, man. They have a problem with you. Icon's here. Welcome. I'm catching up, Mr. Lee. Okay, we need to look at Ken. Ken mentioned, because sooner or later I'd be coming back around to this house. Because I would love like this house. This is only going to go on so long with the haunting issues, and before they decide, you know what, we just need to tear this bitch down. I don't think they will because it's a pretty valuable house, but they have such a hard time selling it. And then if they sell it, the new owner's like, what the fuck can I do with this house? Because You know, no one wants to stay in it necessarily. They can sometimes, but you know, it's if they get spooked, they're gonna get the fuck out. Ruthless is here. Welcome, Jake. New name there. Welcome. Okay, let me pull up Ken's. We're gonna look at a clip from Ken's video. Come on. Here we go. Talismans of modern and ancient peoples. Basically, any object can become a talisman to help help you focus on and to kind of open a portal, a doorway into what you would call the spiritual realm or some other realm that's kind of immaterial to us. But anyway, at some point he brings up the Exorcist house here.
There's talismans for information which are antecedent to the psychophysicality, but things that are objectively focused upon always end up becoming portals for things that are not good. You cannot, any sort of objectivity, whether it be the psychophysical objectivity or things that like the Exorcist is based upon a haunted house, which is not in New York, but located in New Jersey. No, not New Jersey, excuse me, St. Louis, Missouri. They couldn't sell it for decades. Recently, it was sold, but nobody still lives there because the place is literally haunted as hell. The whole Exorcism house was not a little girl. The movie was a little girl based in New York, but the real Exorcist house is a house in St. Louis, Missouri, where I think a different kind of youngster. I think he was mentally different. They said he used a Ouija board, once again, pressed cardboard and plastic. And he put all his heart and soul into using that as a portal to open up, an open door, a false door from this world to the one that sits just underneath it. And all sorts of bad things happen. They couldn't sell it. Everybody in the neighborhood knows it's haunted, not by reputation. They'd hear things moving in the house. There's just nobody could live there. Everybody that's actually bought it, sold it, but it was on the market for a really, really, really long time on Zillow.com. I'd always bring it up like every half year to see if it's sold yet. It's like, no, someone bought it. It's like, oh, no. And they couldn't stay there either. Yeah, well, we got a deal on it. Nobody wants to live here. Well, I don't care. I don't believe in that stuff. A couple people have done this at that house. I don't believe in that. I'm going to buy. It's really cheap. It's a big house. Good location. Nope, can't live there. I kind of don't like discussing esoteric stuff like this because it does kind of scare the normies. But look into false doors. Unfortunately, don't read what the Egyptologists say about false doors. They say that these are.
Yeah, so there's Ken. He mentions this house every so often. But Ken's got thousands and thousands of hours of videos and talks about a variety of subjects. And like if you watched him for years, like I have, and Icon and Ruthless, they have. You've probably heard him mention this house more than a couple times. But you hear he's talking about people move in there, they think that's okay, and then they end up having a problem. I think that it would be beneficial to acquire that house and make it a permanent research place. So I'm trying to figure out, like how would you do this? Why hasn't anyone else done this? And like I would totally just go there and live stream from that house. But how do you go about that? So I don't know if maybe a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter would work. Would people be interested enough to contribute to that? And as a side effect of that, put the LOCKBEARD channel on the map a little bit for some people. hell, you know, maybe have permanent cameras there that are live streaming constantly, so that people who want to just go and watch and see if they can spot anything going down can do so, right? I don't know. There may be a lot of possibilities, but that, you know, if no one can live in the house, then the value, like I think the last time it sold, it was like below value, like below cost. So like they're losing money on it. Like there's no point in owning a piece of property if you're just going to lose money on it. You can't use it. So that's an issue. I'm having to skip. Like there's no way I can keep up with this chat. Rutha says, can't stuff a genie back in a bottle. Cannot uninvited entities. I'm actually kind of glad about that. Like it gives an opportunity. If there is some spiritual activity there, it gives an opportunity to study it and try to understand its nature better. Maybe figure out better ways to communicate. You know, people going around. I mean, these people going around are just, you know, jacking around with like spirit box, for fuck's sake. No, that's not real communication. I think that there might be opportunity for real communication with certain types of entities. Not all. Like if it's a person, if it's a true spirit, this person is in a state of confusion. They don't necessarily realize they're dead. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. If it's another type of entity, another type of, you think of it as another type of life form, that exists in frequency ranges outside our normal ability to interact with. You know, people are they think too much that life is something that's going to be physical to us. Well, not necessarily. So, anyway, it looks like something a tremendous opportunity to research something and to learn something, and so I don't know. I don't know. If that's a good idea to try and acquire the place. But it would require again, all this shit requires money, right? It's a fucking fact of life. It would require a GoFundMe or Kickstarter or something to try and generate the funding, and hopefully enough people that are interested in the project to back it up, that want to actually pay for the project to occur. I've seen this house is available in Connecticut. Make it a research house for the paranormal. Green Paul says, likely a teeny skinwalker ranch. You need a billionaire. I lost all my Bitcoin, so can't buy a devil house right now. Well, yeah, but if you have a few bucks, you could throw into a Kickstarter. Speaking of Bitcoin, what the fuck's going on with Bitcoin? Man, look at that. I don't know if I should bring up this. I don't think there's any identifying information on here, is there? I probably shouldn't. I got my Coinbase pulled up here. Boy, what a fucking drop. It was up around 21,000, and now we're down around 17, below 17. It's crazy. It's crazy. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, I would consider researching the house I had poltergeist in now, but I was younger and scared shirtless then. Can exercise this house with an ionic breeze, technically. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Spirit box, yeah. I think what the hell. Troy's here, welcome. Grasshopper's here, welcome. I gave up on ghost hunting when I got results. I didn't want them following me home. Ruthless says, why research something where no good can come from it? Well, I think learning anything is a benefit. I mean, if it's a problem, if it's that much of a problem, then wouldn't it be beneficial for us to learn the nature, to better learn the nature of the problem and figure out a way to properly counteract it? Well, yeah, they can affect the physical to some extent, but a lot of people still don't believe in those kind of entities, Mr. Lee. They can't just readily just go see it. So they think there's some other explanation, something that they think is more logical. Even though, as Ken would say, this is hyperlogical, that these kind of entities exist. He says hyperlogical. I've yet to see definitive evidence that consciousness survives after the death of the brain. That's because currently science doesn't understand that consciousness is not inside the brain. They don't understand that. If they would get it through their brains, if they would get it through their brains that the brain is not a radio station. It's not a radio station. It's a radio. It's not a radio station, it's a radio. It picks up the signal. It tunes the signal. Technically the water is what's the antenna though that picks it up, but because, and again, if you want to understand how that water molecule thing works, Ken's the only person I know of who you could go to see explanation of that. I mean, there's other science like the Dr. Emoto. There's lots of experiments out there that shows and proves that consciousness affects the water. All kinds of crazy shit. Like and I don't know how in the hell this is being overlooked so well. I think it's just downplayed because I don't know why. I think they want to hide this. They don't want people to know. Like there was this one experiment where they were able to transmit over the internet. Like there was a what was it? I can't remember what it was. It was something that was genetically in the water. And then they did a repeated dilution thing where eventually there should be nothing left of the of the DNA in the water. But the water was in contact with other water molecules that were in contact with other water molecules that were in contact with that DNA and absorbed the information of that DNA. And then they were able to transmit that information over the internet. And then I don't remember exactly how they did it, but they were able to like broadcast the frequency into a completely separate sample of water somewhere else on Earth, and but they had the building blocks of DNA in the water, and it constructed the DNA. Like there's some wild shit out there. You go look at it, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is going on here? It's because reality, reality isn't exactly what people have in their head, what they think, and they don't understand because you got mainstream science is just stuck on. I do think there's some level of conspiracy going on. They don't want us to understand the true nature of reality, is ultimately what it is. They don't want us to understand, but they can't stop Ken and they can't stop me. Try the spirits box. I ain't fucking with no. It looks like some dumb shit to me as well. Grasshopper says, Joe, plenty of brain deads walking around. Spirit Donald says, Mr. Lee, spirit boxes are rubbish. Yeah, just radio radio bullshit. Crypto is destined to fail, says Ruthless. I hope it comes back up. I only have a tiny bit of Bitcoin. I sold about a third of it the other day before the drop happened. I should have sold it all. I think I should have sold it all. But it's so little, like it can't pay my bills. Mr. Lee, it's ramen time. I'm telling you, it's ramen time. Bitcoin crashed, it's gone, says Green Paws. Well, it might come back up. We'll see. Used it rubbish. I'm having to skip a lot of comments, so hopefully I didn't miss anything real important, folks. Initially wouldn't buy a shirt box. Ruthless says it's part of the attenuation process of spirit to body. Yeah, we're gonna, like, Ruthless and Icon and those that hang out at least sometime enough, and if you hang out enough at Ken's channel that you've learned, you know, the explanation of basically reality of the universe that you guys know. I mean, I still think of myself as atheist, right? But the problem is it ain't quite that simple, is it? Like, I mean, it depends on what you like. If you discover that some kind of supreme entity exists, but it's completely scientifically explainable, is that a god or is that just a very powerful entity, right? Is it make you religious, or are you still an atheist? Because Ken kind of harps on that a little bit. Like, if you're atheistic, then you're in denial of blah 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 blah. But I don't think because I'm not recognizing the consciousness of the universe as a god, right? I'm not going to worship it. I'm not building any altars. So, where we at? It's rubbish. Cannot try to fool me. That was Jimbo trying to talk you into trying a spirit box. Just picking up random signals, man. Making it come angel. What the? What the hell? I don't know what's going on there. Welcome to the chat, Scotty. Sand Angel once. Not trying to fool anyone, nor what up, dude. What up, dude? Donald says ramen is opposite of keto. Lockbeard might want to make a cow disappear. Gotta save money, man. Well, Mr. Lee says I've seen ghosts, but people try to make money to deceive. I don't like that rubbish. Scotty says you're in a canoe or two. Opposite of food. I know, man, but it's cheap. Fill the stomach. Mark says it's all good. We're Gippsland. Moama, Uchuka. Pretty damp up that way. Disgusting but hilarious. Yeah. So, okay. I gotta. I'll pull up this video from Grim Life Collective channel. Well, they actually went to where this house is at and filmed it. Let me get it pulled up here.
Now here's where the story starts to get a little strange. Supposedly, Rolando, we're going to talk about his name a little bit later on, had an aunt by the name of Aunt Harriet, who was a bit of a spiritualist, and she was the one who introduced Rolando to a Ouija board, and they used to play it together. Now, kind of mirroring the movie, Rolando started playing with the Ouija board by himself, and not too long after she died, he started playing with it, trying to contact her. It was roughly, according to reports that I've read, 11 days after her death, where strange things, like really strange things moving, things started to get violent, like poltergeist activity. Those started 11 days after Aunt Harriet's death. Now, I do want to point out as well that in the movie, The Exorcist, it was the Catholic Church that was performing the exorcism, but in real life, since the family was Lutheran, they actually seek the help of Lutheran church officials. It wasn't until they moved here to St. Louis when the Catholic Church got involved. Now, when Rolando and his family came out here to St. Louis, this is where their close family was living, on 8435 Roanoke Drive in the Belle Noire section of St. Louis. Now, I reached out to the family and I thought we had something set up, but sadly we can't get inside the house to see where Rolando's bedroom was. But it is believed to be on the second floor, don't know where the exorcism here in St. Louis took place. Well, the beginning of it. Everything that went on inside this house was very well documented by one of the priests who was there for the exorcism. He actually kept a pretty detailed diary of it. In fact, that diary was actually used by William Peter Blatty whenever he was writing the book. So that's kind of cool, a little piece of information, right? Now, things inside this house started getting violent, just like in Washington, D.C. Instead of somebody being cut, there was one point where Rolando actually broke free and punched one of the priests in the nose, breaking his nose in the process. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was only about 2 weeks that the exorcism was actually here, taking place inside this house. He was only in here for 2 weeks until he was moved to another location. Now, here in St. Louis, to be completely honest, there's 3 different locations that the exorcism took place. When you think of The Exorcist, I know you think of the house and the stairs made famous from that terrifying movie. And yes, I said terrifying movie because it still terrifies me when I watch it today. I absolutely love religious horror. But
So get a pretty good look at the house there. It's looking a little rugged outside anyway. That's the curriculum. He's upset he's not. Share. Talk about that poor guy. Meredith, that thing, whatever it was, sat on my chest. Got a clip from a documentary here. I feel like we might have looked at this before, or at least part of this. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let me pull this one down.
Suddenly it occurred to those of faith, weak or strong, that, you know, there might be demons, there might be punishment.
His story about a priest who drives Satan from a malevolent child is inspired by a real exorcism that took place half a century ago. The Exorcist is a 52-year-old Roman Catholic priest in St. Louis, Missouri. William Bowder is respected for his kindness and charity. Over 25 years in the priesthood, he has earned a reputation for tenacity.
He was kind of like a bulldog. If he'd get a hold of something, he'd follow it to the very end.
He receives a call from a longtime friend, fellow priest Raymond Bitchute. He relates a story that seems preposterous.
Yeah, I don't know how much we get away. I don't want to do another copyright situation, but Jen says it's an entertaining and interesting channel. Just really putting that link up. Awesome. So, hold on a second. There's a website called Fright Find. And they have a little write-up here on the Exorcist house. I've never watched The Exorcist all the way through. I've seen clips and stuff over the years. It just doesn't really interest me. I'm far more interested in the real thing. You know, I'm far more interested in the real story. So there's the address. Is that the future headquarters of the Lockbeard channel? Is it? The Real Exorcist House in Belnor, Missouri. There are some movies that everyone has heard of, and The Exorcist is one of them, a classic horror movie that tells a tale of a 12-year-old Reagan. Is that what her name was in the movie? Who is believed to be possessed by the devil. The movie was released in 1973 and quickly became wildly successful and has since been recognized as one of the best horror movies of all times. While the movie was based on the 1971 novel by William Blatty, it was a real-life story that was the original inspiration for the chilling tale. Instead of a 12-year-old girl, it was a 14-year-old boy who was believed to have suffered from demonic possession. Just saying that this home was, because he was in a different place. I'll show you an article here in a minute where some people bought the old home they were in, but this is where they moved to, and then he was eventually supposedly exorcised. Roland Doe is a synonym. I don't know if they give his actual name here. I forget it now. It's kind of a weird name. I forget it now, but his real name is known. But like Doe, his real name is I think Ronald Doe. Ronald, and then some other last name. But they call him Roland Doe. This pseudonym given to the young boy at the center of this tale was born in 1935, German Lutheran parents in Maryland. An only child, Roland spent time with his Aunt Harriet, a spiritualist who he was very close to. It was she who introduced him to the Ouija board, and he would play with it from time to time, either with his aunt or by himself. It was around the late 1940s when Roland was 14 that some unexplained activity began to take place in their home. Dripping, rapping, scratching sounds, the source of which couldn't be located, and a picture of Christ that was said to be shaking for no apparent reason. It was 11 days after this strange activity had started that Roland's Aunt Harriet passed away, that poltergeist activity began to be experienced in the home. It is said that in an attempt to contact his aunt, Roland took to the Ouija board once more, and it was through this attempt at contact that he became possessed by a demonic spirit. It was then that the inexplicable activity began to escalate, with furniture moving seemingly by itself, objects levitating, and more frighteningly, scratches appearing on Roland's body and bizarre activity following him wherever he went. The family first turned to medical and psychiatric doctors who could find no explanation for his changed behavior. Now, frightened and confused, the family contacted their Lutheran priests for guidance. The clergyman, Reverend Luther Miles Scholes, had Roland spend the night with him for monitoring, and what he witnessed led him to conclude that evil forces were at play. Unexplained sounds of vibrating and scratching in an armchair in which Robbie was sitting, tilting and tipping over with no human intervention, furniture moving by itself. This was when the exorcisms began, both Lutheran and later Catholic. It was during an exorcism by a Catholic priest that Roland slipped free of his restraint, broke a bed spring from underneath the mattress, and used it to attack the priest, halting the exorcism and leaving the priest needing stitches. It was around this time that the family decided to move to St. Louis to seek further help, and where 8435 Roanoke Drive became their new home. Through a cousin, the family obtained help from two priests, a college professor, and an associate of College Church. They visited the home on Roanoke Drive and witnessed the terrifying activity taking place in the home and Roland himself. Reports say they heard Roland speaking in a voice that was not his own, deep and guttural objects flying around the room and shaking furniture. Permission was obtained from the archbishop to perform another exorcism. Another priest was asked to assist, and he stated that marks inexplicably appeared on the boy's body, along with the words such as evil and hell. He also had his nose broken by Roland during the violent exorcism. Is the exorcist house haunted? It is said that following this final exorcism, Roland went on to live an unremarkable life, but it is clear that the walls of Roanoke Drive would have some disturbing tales to tell from this part of Roland's life. The house itself still stands and can be found in a suburb of St. Louis called Belnor, a two-level brick house. It's privately owned, so it's not possible to visit inside, but you can take a casual stroll down the residential cul-de-sac and observe the home where the spooky paranormal activity took place. Nikki is lurking, I see. Yeah, talk to text sucks. Yeah, hopefully I made that make sense. Yeah. The information in the DNA transfers to the water. Then you can remove the DNA from the water, put that water in contact with other water. It transfers the water to that, the information to that water. And then you can pick up the signal from the water, transmit the signal over the internet, expose a new water sample to the signal, and then as long as the building blocks of DNA are in that sample of water, it will build that DNA. It is some crazy ass shit. Real science. Real science. Scotty got to bounce. So hopefully I didn't miss any. Mr. Lee says, I heard that guttural sound, man. Effed me up. Yeah, I imagine it would. So I got, of course, you can look at about anything on Zillow, any house on Zillow. There's some weirdness though with the images on Zillow. Let me pull this up. There's some blurry places, and it's like I don't know what the deal is. Maybe some of y'all have seen this yourselves before. Let me make sure it came up. Mr. Lee says Ouija board, don't mess with that shit. So the Exorcist house you see in the picture, it's clear, but the neighbor's house is blurred out. Like, why is the neighbor's house blurred out like that? Did the demon move next door? See, why does it look so much nicer in this picture than the other one? Somebody must have spruced up the neighborhood. Explain that shit. And then look here. Why is there blurry? Why is it blurred right there? And I see other blurry spots. Like this upper window right here. Now, I seen where someone else said that they saw, like they've been there, and they seen strange activity with that window, that upper right window, the top floor. It's hard to tell, but it looks a little blurred there, and it looks blurred right here for some reason. So are they trying to hide something? Is this something that Google Earth is, or is this ghosting shit, man? Why is this the hell's going on there? Because this is the Exorcist house to the right of that blurry area there. Possible the bug splatter on the camera. I don't know, man. Usually you can see everything clearly. I mean, you see everything looks fine, but that one house, or is that between the two houses or whatever? But maybe Jen says maybe the neighbors didn't want the house in the ad. Well, yeah, but this is the Google Earth drive-by. Like you can go all the way up and down the street in this tool, and for whatever reason, that spot there is blurred out. They come down here, and once it loads up, I mean, nobody's safe from the drive-by picture takers. But you get over here and you got this blurry shit going on right here. I don't think there's a house right in between there. I think that's It's between the two houses somehow. It's staying at that location. Like if it was on the lens or something, it wouldn't stay with that location. Like there is some funny business going on over there. And you see there ain't a I don't think there's another house sitting in between there. There might be. What are they in witness protection? See, it's coming over into their. Well, maybe that's not their driveway. I'm not sure whose driveway is whose. It looks like that's theirs. That's theirs. So maybe that is that neighbor's driveway there. Need some more investigation on that shit. Figure out what the hell is going on. Go to maps and see if it's clear or not. Computer struggling. Well, shoot. I'm probably have to give up on that, looking at that. Because it's bogging down the Wi-Fi, I think. Family of Sasquatches live next door. Yeah. Holy water on the lens. You're an investigator now. And there it goes. I cannot believe no nonsense. It upsets me. Privacy concern. A messy image is more common than not. So you've seen that kind of thing before? To live in that house if it was free. New name, Major Brown. Welcome to the chat. A lot of street views around Chicago are blurry, and it's not just a city. Are they trying to hide something? Yeah. I'll have to I might dive into that later. Try to figure that out. See, because you can see the neighbor's house just fine. I'm pretty sure there is a house in that blurry spot, so I'm wondering if they don't. They can request to be blurred out or something. Maps is a data hog. Yeah, I could hear the computer spinning up. It wasn't happy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a house there. Major Brown says, in fact, the Exorcism house will be mine if I can afford it. Let me bring up this other article here. So, because this can be confusing to people, because they were living in this other house in Maryland, and that's the house that these people bought, and they're calling it the Exorcist house. But they started out there, but they ended up moving to the house in St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, he has a house in it. Major Brown says, I don't care if the Exorcism has on it. I'm not scared of anything. In fact, I will break and snap any haunted things to pieces. Major Brown's on the other channel, Mr. Lee. Or I'm sorry, Donald. So I don't know how important this one is, but these people bought the house. They've experienced no activity. There's a part where they say they're not worried about it because demons possess people, not houses. But they do have people coming and wanting to see, check the house out. Look down here, it says there have been run-ins with the public. However, ever since local author Mark Opsanik reported the address in 1999 magazine story, fans have been trekking to the house. Their first visitor was a dude with a ZZ Top beard, says Rocky Harris, who works for the software company. Usually the demon seekers just park, snap a pic, and leave. Mostly the pair view their home's creepy past as a source of amusement. But, yeah. So, that doesn't seem like there's anything going on there. If there's anything attached, it seems like it's attached to the house in St. Louis, Missouri. So, yeah, we are live streaming to both channels, so some people are on the chat in the other channel. Mr. Lee says, Donald, I have the LOCKBEARD's other channel on big screen. Yeah, Grasshopper says, 477 million missing from cryptocurrency FTX, hacked and stolen. Yep. There is a clusterfuck there. Bunch of pissed off people. Uncle Bone says, Major Brown, is this your art on your channel, may I ask? Mr. Lee says, give me all your loving, all your hugs and kisses too. Really, Mr. Lee? All of it? You want all of it? Surely not all of it, Mr. Lee. Sandra Piper says, no Ouija board, no spirit box, period. So, some years back, the Highgate Manor close to me has paranormal activity, but they want a fortune for it. Lee ZZ says Stevie B. Welcome, Stevie B. So, yeah, the Archbishop warned them against, because they were going to broadcast, they were going to go into the house apparently and do a live exorcism. Okay. But I think this is all just, they were using it for...
About the extra.
Whoops. They were using it for, for views. It's TV. Any of these people that are on TV, man, they're not actually going to find shit. Finding Bigfoot didn't find shit. It's a false advertising. They didn't find shit. Everybody's trying to make their dime off of Bigfoot without actually being honest about doing the thing, right? Finding the thing, finding the ghost. They go in the house, they turn on a spirit box, listen to some random radio signals, and claim that they're talking to a fucking ghost. Now, maybe some ghosts are manipulating it, but how about you prove that the damn thing is actually doing that before you sit there and talk to spirit boxes for thousands of hours as if you know that it's actually communicating with ghosts? You need to prove that it's communicating with ghosts. Uncle Bone says Grasshopper, it was the CEO, took it and some others, was not hacked. They probably wanted to make it look like it was hacked. How much you want to bet? Barbecue making ribeye. Yeah, they probably wanted to make it look like it was hacked. So, yeah, so they were warned not to do this, and I guess they did it anyway. And so there's some video clips here of what they did when they did this.
About the Exorcist movie, and I was, like everyone else, horrified, and I was hooked. 30 years later, in 2008, I got word that the owner of this house was a fan of my radio show. A couple weeks later, I led one of the first paranormal investigations of the Exorcist house. So I came into it cocky. I came into it as a showman. I planned a 12-hour shoot. I was out within 3 hours. I put 2 of my listeners in the Exorcist bedroom. I asked them to stay 1 hour each. Neither of them made it 5 minutes. You're about to see the results of that. And so I'm back, hoping to change things. Check out this package from 2008. I first became interested in the story when I learned that it took place in St. Louis. The new owner of the house listened to my radio show, and he contacted us and invited us to be there, which, to my knowledge, we were the first paranormal crew to ever get access to the house. All right, guys, take your blindfolds off.
Dave decided to bring 3 lucky listeners along to join the investigation. But as soon as they entered the house,
I was immediately hit with, this was a mistake. You're about to anger whatever powers are in this house. The contestants freaked out. Anyone want out? Anyone feel like they can't do this?
I can't.
You can't do it?
I'm really sorry.
She had a breakdown, basically.
I don't even believe in this stuff, but something really bad is going to happen to me if I stay here.
It was a terrifying moment for me personally, because now I'm feeling responsible for all these people. But if you need to, we're right outside the door.
Okay.
one of the girls was brave enough to stick around. She was offered a prize if she could stay just 5 minutes alone in the possessed boy's bedroom.
Just can't stop shaking.
No one was in the house. We were listening in and watching the video. I will never forget this as long as I live.
It's a room in a house in the neighborhood.
She screamed a scream I've never heard before in my life. That was by far the most terrifying moment for me. It's almost like being a part of the club of men who walked on the moon. Very few people know what it's like to walk up the stairs of the Exorcist house and walk into the bedroom where the exorcism took place, and you're never the same again. About the Exorcist movie,
Dave,
and
such
I
a
was
chilling
like
piece of
everyone else.
video. Dave, why don't you fill us in on what you and your team will be doing in the control center? Chris, we're going to be keeping an eye on 6 robotic cameras that have been mounted in the Exorcist house. In the basement, in the dining room, in the stairway, the attic, the guest room, and Roland Doe's bedroom. Now, you can see these feeds at the very same time that we do. They're streaming online at destinationamerica.com/exorcismlive. If you see anything on the cameras, you can send a tweet to @DesAmerica with the hashtag ExorcismLive. We'll respond, we'll investigate. All through the show, we'll be reading your posts and playing back the hits that you're finding online. Also, from time to time, the guys from the Ghost Asylum will be here to review evidence, help us out, so it should be a really busy night here at the Control Center. Chris, we're ready to go. All right, Dave, thank you very much for that information. Now, I'm willing to bet that if you want...
So I don't know. I didn't feel like going too much into all that stuff there, because I I mean, Mr. Lee thinks it's rubbish. I think it was just rubbish. They just They just wanted to make a TV show. They want to get some viewers. Oh, we're going to go in the exorcist house and we're going to perform an exorcism. Whatever. Why don't you call Beetlejuice while you're at it? So, this is an article in the Riverfront Times that pretty much lays the whole thing out. It's quite a bit to go through, so bear with me. For the residents of this tidy, tree-lined Belnor neighborhood, the haunted story that surrounds the home at 8435 Roanoke Drive may be their worst-kept secret. Quote, "Oh yeah, that's the house," confirms neighbor Chris Coy when asked if he's aware of the occult history of the two-story brick colonial next door. "That's what they say," acknowledged Jean Costura, a 72-year-old widow who, for 20 years, has kept watch over the North St. Louis County neighborhood from her bungalow on the other side of the infamous house. "But all of that happened back in the 1940s. I'm told the victim is still alive. He won't talk about it." Now, this was a few years back, so I don't know exactly what year this was written, but he's supposed to be dead now. It continues, the other neighbors, including the couple across the street and several families living on adjacent blocks, are also quick to share the mysterious story of the house. Indeed, it seems the only people who aren't eager to recount the sordid tale are the home's current owner, Gary Stafford, and the real estate agent trying to sell the house. "I don't want to talk about it," bristles the realtor, Patrick McLaughlin, before quickly hanging up the phone. "It's not going to help me sell the home." Stafford, a real estate investor who has never lived in the 3-bedroom house, says he became aware of the rumors only after he purchased it out of bankruptcy this summer. The last person to occupy the residence, a man named Elvis Fantroy, left the building in June and hasn't been heard from since. Be a good moneymaker from having static cams hooked up to pay-per-view like them nonsense cameras Vault had at his house in Mississippi. Yeah. It's a possibility. Big difference between Ghosts and Dogman. There's a whole lot of evidence of Ghosts and zero of Dogman. So, folks, you might actually see some shit. I don't know. But I think there is something to be said from mass monitoring of a haunted location, because, I can't sit and watch, thousands upon thousands of hours of video hoping to catch something. But there's thousands of people out there who may want to just, kick back and watch an hour and see what they see what they can pick out. So, talking more crypto there. Some days or others struggle. Praying for you. Oh, on every corner. Probably the whole damn place is haunted at this point, Mr. Lee. Probably the whole damn place. So I'm going to continue with the article here. More quotes. It says, "I don't think publicizing it is a good thing," says Stafford, who's asking $169,900 for the sturdy 63-year-old domicile that has been on the market more than 2 months. It's certainly not something we need to disclose to the future buyer. That's some 50 years ago. A boy who stayed in the house may or may not have been possessed. Besides, adds Stafford, attempting to further distance his investment from the events purported to have occurred there, the exorcism didn't happen there. It happened at St. Louis University. He's trying. He don't want the. It's like if someone gets killed in your house, you don't want the. But I think you have to disclose that in almost any place now. But yeah, he wants to distance himself. But the fact is a possessed boy was in the freaking house, and so there you have it. So I'll continue here. But the fact remains that the real life story behind author William Peter Blatty's best-selling novel, The Exorcist, had its origins in St. Louis. Just bring your seat so you don't talk about it. A few of those, thanks for the link. Donald says, Mr. Lee, all that bombing served up by Germany, there has to be some spirits around. Yeah, no shit, man. Continue with this here article. Legend tells of an ill 13-year-old boy who, in the late winter of 1949, traveled to St. Louis from suburban Washington, D.C., convinced the child was possessed by the devil. Jesuit priests from St. Louis University performed a grueling month-long exorcism on the boy, at last freeing the teen from Satan's grasp in the psych ward at Alexian Brothers Hospital. Whether the child was actually possessed is still a matter of debate, but the fact that priests did perform the archaic ritual of the exorcism is not. Blatty used a diary kept by one of the exorcists as the basis of his 1971 book, which rode atop bestseller lists for 54 weeks. When Blatty's seminal shocker hit theaters 2 years later, filmgoers across the nation threw up in the aisles and ran screaming from movie houses. There were also reports of people conducting their own Gothic exorcisms, killing several possessed victims in the process. You know what you get? Try to keep up with chat if I can. Mr. Lee says, done a lot of research. My poltergeist experience has much to do with that. Must find the ghost of Roland the Farter. He was a favorite jester of King Henry. Yeah. Reacting to the hysteria, several priests with intimate knowledge of the St. Louis exorcism came forward to angrily deny some of the most outrageous claims made in the movie, such as the possessed child masturbating with a bloody crucifix and spewing pea soup like vomit. But the priests did not deny that the exorcism took place in St. Louis. Follow-up news articles, some based on excerpts from the diary Blatty used to pen his book, placed the exorcism at the rectory of St. Francis Xavier College Church on the St. Louis University campus and in the Alexian Brothers Hospital. But missing from almost all accounts is mention of the St. Louis residence where the boy stayed prior to being moved to the rectory and finally the hospital. What's this Roland the Farter stuff here? What's going on with that? I haven't heard of no Roland the Farter. Icon says Uncle Bones. He was a famous flatulist in the 1200s. Oh, okay. Well, that clears that up. Seen some. Mr. Lee says in Italy, I seen some weird shit there too. Just saying. But that house was almost certainly the property Stafford recently purchased at 8435 Roanoke Drive. With both the church rectory and the Alexian Brothers Hospital having been razed decades ago, the home remains the last surviving landmark associated with the ghastly story. It is with that nondescript brick home that some of the most spellbinding tales of the exorcism occurred. Priests report arriving at the house on March 9th, 1949, to witness the boy's bed shaking uncontrollably. At the mention of the scriptures, the boy screamed out in pain. Scrapes and welts, some forming letters and words, rose up inexplicably on his skin. A bottle of holy water flew through the air. For 2 weeks, the priest waged night-long battles with the demon inside the lone lit bedroom on Roanoke Drive. It's just too strange to forget, especially in Nepali. Damn, Roland the Farter. Grasshopper says Europe has too much history, so ghosts are everywhere. Flying circus member. Regular exorcisms in Naples. I don't know about that, Mr. Lee. That these scenes in the home are not addressed in the retelling of the exorcism is not surprising, given the extraordinary care the Jesuits took to conceal the identity of the possessed boy. In fact, few of the St. Louis priests involved in the exorcism ever spoke of it. Father William Baldern, who carried out the majority of the exorcism rituals, died in 1983 at the age of 85, never having disclosed what he knew of the case. Father Raymond Bishop, who kept the diary of the exorcism, and Father William Van Roo, an attending priest, also remained tight-lipped, believing media attention violated the confidentiality of the possessed boy. This past March, Father Walter Halloran, the last surviving Jesuit to take part in the exorcism, died at 83. Donald says, Icon. Yeah, I was thinking Monty Python. Vatican hide lots of secrets. Oh, I'm sure they do, Mr. Lee. Halloran was a 27-year-old history student at SLU when Baldern recruited him for the exorcism, a handsome, athletic man who excelled in both football and track. Halloran provided much of the needed brawn, holding the flailing child while the priest read to him the rites of exorcism. During one episode, the boy broke free of Halloran's grasp and punched him in the face, breaking his nose. Unlike nearly all the other Jesuits with privileged information of the exorcism, Halloran shared what he knew of the case, but always stopped short of saying anything that might identify the child. His most detailed recollections were told more than a decade ago to Washington, D.C. based author Thomas B. Allen, who in 1993 published the book Possessed, the True Story of an Exorcism. Chessboard says Uncle Bones. Joy, consider kidding me. Some kind of link there. Donald, he's even got a Wikipedia listing. the name for his government character, Blazing Saddles. So, Benny Hill playing Roland the Farter in History Channel documentary. Huh. The book relied heavily on Halloran's account of the exorcism, and most important, an unedited copy of the exorcism diary he provided. The result is an enthralling day-by-day chronicle of the possession, beginning on January 15th, 1949, when the boy's family first heard odd noises in their suburban D.C. abode, and ending April 19th, when Baldern is said to have finally cast Satan from the boy. In one account, Allen describes the night the exorcism began in the Belnor home's second-floor bedroom. Quote, something now rippled on Robbie's right leg, writes Allen, using a pseudonym to identify the boy. As Baldern again commanded the demon to identify himself, red whelps formed an image on the leg. It was, the witness later said, an image of the devil. What's Donald laughing about? The true identity of the boy and his family has never before been published. A dozen years following the release of the book, Allen still declines to disclose the name made available to him in Halloran's unedited diary. Soon after the book came out, a television show offered me $15,000 if I'd identify the kid, says Allen, when contacted by phone at his home in Bethesda, Maryland. I passed on it. During the research of my book, I sent the kid, then in his mid to late 50s, 2 letters to the addresses where I believed he lived. I never heard back from him, and I have to respect his privacy. In the book, Allen identifies the St. Louis home as belonging to the boy's paternal uncle and depicts it simply as a 2-story brick house set back behind a front yard lawn on a quiet street in a suburb a few miles northwest of St. Louis. Icon, yes, it might get a little. It may. Well, I have a clip here of from the movie that's fucked up. How then can we be sure the house on Roanoke was indeed the site of the exorcism? The answer comes circuitously by way of Allen's report. While the author provides scant detail of the house, he does provide the address of the residence in Mount Rainier, Maryland, just north of Washington, D.C., where the boy is said to have lived at the time of the possession. The home, listed as 3210 Bunker Hill Road, received far greater notoriety than its counterpart in St. Louis. How then can we be sure that the house in Roanoke was indeed the site of the exorcism? The answer comes circuitously by way of Allen's report, while the author provides... Oh, shit. I got the same paragraph there twice, don't I? Oops. Bring it on, your eyes are screwed. Alrighty then. Allen writes that the family moved away a short time after the exorcism. The property sat vacant for years. The home was known by locals as the Devil's House. Teenagers dared each other to enter. Vagrants squatted in it, often setting parts of the house ablaze with their cooking fires. By the early 1960s, the ramshackle structure, believed by many to be cursed, became such a nuisance that the local fire department used it as a training exercise, systematically burning the house room by room. Today, all that's left is an empty lot, but that doesn't stop thrill seekers from congregating on the very spot where they believed the devil possessed a little boy. What's that, Mr. Lee? Thankfully, I had one friend that I knew was not lying about poltergeists that saved me mentally because I was effed up, man. Just saying. I think, yeah, well, much later, I talked on chessboard. Sadly for the thrill seekers, the property is most likely not the true site of the possession, prompted in part by Allen's book. Washington, D.C. writer Mark Opsasnik began researching the owners of the property on Bunker Hill Road. He discovered that the couples who lived there in 1949 did not have children. Working with clues gathered from Allen's book, as well as dozens of news articles telling the real-life story behind The Exorcist, Opsasnik determined the boy grew up in nearby Cottage City, Maryland. In 1998, Opsasnik published his findings in Strange Magazine, a publication dedicated to the unearthly and paranormal, in what is undoubtedly the most comprehensive investigation into the boy's identity. Opsasnik chronicles how his research led him to a home at 3807 40th Avenue in Cottage City. Dozens of interviews with people who knew the family living there at the time confirmed the author's hunch that the Cottage City address was in fact home to a family whose child became, quote, sick in the winter of 1949 and went to St. Louis for treatment. Although Opsasnik never identifies the child or the family by name, he uses the pseudonym John Doe throughout the article. He leaves valuable clues for anyone wanting to out the family, including which census books, municipal directories, and libraries he used to verify the family name and address. When reached by phone earlier this month, the periodical's clerk at the Hyattsville Library in suburban Washington, D.C. reported that the 1949 directory Opsasnik cited in his article had been stolen, but proudly noted the library did have the same directory for 1954. In his article, Opsasnik writes that Maryland land records show the family lived at the same Cottage City address for the years 1939 to 1958, meaning the 1954 address should have the same name for the family living at the address in 1949. That name was Hunkler. I think it's Hunkler. Mr. Edwin Hunkler and his wife, Odell. Is he? He never is on hardly anymore. The same last name is listed for the home on Roanoke Drive. According to the St. Louis County Municipal Directory for 1949, Leonard C. Hunkler, the paternal uncle of the possessed boy, and his wife Doris occupied the home from 1942, the year the house was built, until sometime in the early 1950s. As to the identity of the possessed boy, his last name was most certainly that of his father, Hunkler. No verifiable media report has ever given his full name, or for that matter, the last name of Hunkler. But at least two websites, one claiming to have obtained the unedited Exorcism diary, and another that ostensibly retraced the clues, gives in Opsasnik's article, gave the name as Ronald Hunkler. But just what occurred in the Hunkler residence in the early morning hours of 1949? For that, we turn to the Diary of the Exorcism, a copy of which Thomas Allen furnished to the Riverfront Times. Chessboard says Uncle Bones messed the big padlock on his trailer. Donald says, so is this possible to conjure up these demons in a house that has been cleansed of them? I would imagine so. You know, it's just like anything else, right? You know, you buy a rental house, somebody got roaches in it, you bug bomb it, you move some new tenants in, and they get roaches again. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, you're good at narration. Maybe you should take over for Steve Ishtal channel. Probably should. Jimbo says no proof, though. Written in stark and stilted prose, the 26-page document begins at the home in Cottage City. It is there that the family reported hearing strange noises in the walls and beneath the floorboards. The scratching sounds continued for several days before becoming silent to everyone but the 13-year-old boy, who also complained of hearing squeaking shoes circling his bed at night. In his book, Possessed, Allen writes about the boy's favorite aunt, a spiritualist from St. Louis, introduced the child to the Ouija board during one of her earlier visits and suggests the boy may have channeled the possession through the board game. The diary, however, makes no mention of the Ouija board, but does refer to the aunt. It was her ghost that the family first believed to be behind the noises. But soon the spirit transformed from poltergeist to sinister specter. The boy's bed shook wildly throughout the night. Bibles and holy relics flew through the air. Claw-like scratches raked the child as he slept. When the word Lewis rose up on his ribs, the family decided a trip to visit relatives in St. Louis might rid them of the haunting. On Wednesday, March 9th, 1949, Father Bishop visited the family at their relative's home on Roanoke Drive. Bishop, a professor at St. Louis University and the author of the Exorcism Diary, blessed the entire dwelling before entering the bedroom, where he found the boy lying perfectly still on a bed that was rattling violently. Chessport says, Jimbo, I was always told as a child and throughout life, it's not the dead that hurt you, it's the living. Writing in third person and referring to the possessed boy by his first initial of R, the author reports, Bishop sprinkled St. Ignatius holy water on the bed in the form of a cross. The movement ceased quite abruptly. During the course of 15 minutes of activity, a sharp pain seemed to have struck R on his stomach, and he cried out. The mother quickly pulled back the bed covers and lifted the boy's pajamas top enough to show zigzag scratches and bold red lines. Friday, March 11th, Bishop returned with Father Baldern, the pastor of St. Francis Xavier College Church. The boy was dozing when the bottle of St. Ignatius holy water was thrown from a table 2 feet from R's bed into a nearby corner, a distance of approximately 6 feet. 5 minutes later, a bookcase was moved from alongside the bed and turned completely around, facing the entrance of the room. Wednesday, March 16th. The priest obtained approval from the St. Louis Archbishop Joseph E. Ritter to administer the rites of exorcism as spelled out in the centuries-old Catholic prayer book, The Roman Ritual. That night, the diary reports, Father Baldern in surplice, and stole began the prayers of exorcism. On the first Principio, there was immediate action. 3 large parallel bars were scratched on the boy's stomach. From then on, at the names of our Lord and his Blessed Mother and St. Michael, scratches appeared on the boy's legs, thighs, stomach, back, chest, face, and throat. The most distinct marking on the body were the pictures of the devil on R's right leg. and the word hell imprinted on ours chest. 75 and you don't believe it? Hope you never have to go through it. Mr. Lee says, I'm telling you, this shit exists. It do exists. It do exist. I wish I had proof to show. I'm sorry I don't, says Jimbo. Yeah. It's just, it's hard for some people to wrap their minds around, and maybe they have resistance to it because, it spooks them and they don't want to believe something that spooks them. But I promise you, if it's a matter of this sounds like some hocus pocus bullshit, I'm a science-based person. There is a scientific explanation for it. You just don't know the right science. Mainstream science doesn't know. Mainstream science ain't figured out this shit yet, but it's a real thing. I know it seems crazy that there could be a scientific explanation for demons. Forget the word demon, though. Demon is just a word. It carries so much connotation. Forget that word. Forget that word. It's just, forget spirit, or spiritual. Those words carry a lot of connotation. You need to get past that. Mr. Lee says yes. The nightly interventions at 8435 Roanoke Drive would continue for the next week, the child's reaction to the exorcism growing more extreme by the day. From the Friday, March 18th entry, the prayers of the exorcism were continued, and R was seized violently so that he began to struggle with his pillow and the bed clothing. The arms and legs and head of R had to be held by 3 men. The contortions revealed physical strength beyond the natural power. R spit at them, at the faces of those who held him, and at those who prayed over him. He spit at the relics and at the priest's hands. He writhed under the sprinkling of holy water. He fought and screamed in a diabolical, high-pitched voice. On the night of Sunday, March 20th, Bishop reports the boy reacted with more violence than on any previous occasion. The high point of the evening were urinations, which really burned R. I'm sorry, urinations, which really burned R. Breaking wind through the rectum 3 different times. Where else would you break wind? And cursing the exorcist. Some of the vulgarity follows. Go to hell, you dirty sons of bitches, you dirty assholes. Monday, March 21st. The family, having had little sleep since the exorcism began, agreed to move the boy to Alexian Brothers Hospital for the night. For the next several weeks, the boy would move from the hospital to the college church rectory and back to the home on Roanoke Drive, even returning to Cottage City for a few days when the priest erroneously thought the boy was cured. The climax came the day after Easter, Monday, April 18th, when the boy awoke in a furor inside the psych ward of the Alexian Brothers Hospital. His seizures and spells continued through the morning, with the priests placing medals, rosaries, and relics around his neck. In his hand, they placed a crucifix. The boy mocked the priest, saying he has to say one more word, one little word. I mean, one big word. He'll never say it. I am always in him. I may not have much power always, but I am in him. He will never say that word. Donald says rectum damn near killed him. I guess. Still, the priest endured, holding counsel over the boy in one final push to exorcise the demon. At 10:45 p.m., The boy lay still. In clear, commanding tones, he shouted out, "Satan, Satan, I am Saint Michael, and I command you, Satan, and the other evil spirits to leave the body in the name of Dominus immediately, now, now, now." 7 minutes later, the boy awoke to announce he's gone. During his final spell, the diary reports, the boy saw a vision of the devil and 10 of his helpers engaged in a fiery battle with Saint Michael, the archangel. At one point during the dream, the angel smiled at the boy and said, "Dominus," which is Latin for Lord, the word the boy vowed he'd never say that morning. Maricopa, what? Troy says, Maricopa night counting 2 hours ago. The place was deserted. Huh. More cheating, huh? Michael's here. Welcome. He says, "Rectum hell, throw out the caution flag." Jimbo says, "I stayed at my folks' house post first surgery in December of 2021. My bedroom door opened 5 times. I spoke to my paps about it. He told me he seen a figure all black looking at him multiple times. Cut his ass off. Cut his ass half off." That's a week later on Christmas Eve, huh? Icon says, "Are you surprised?" Yeah, they're cheating. They're cheating. They're fucking cheating. The exorcised boy, presumably Ronald Hunkler, is reported to be living somewhere on the East Coast. He is now 70 years old. Rumor has it he named his first son Michael after the archangel who rescued him from Satan's clutches. He supposedly has never spoken about the exorcism. A brief addendum to the diary reports that the boy and his family returned to visit the Alexian brothers in August of 1951. The entry describes the boy, then 16, as a fine young man and tells that his father and mother converted to Catholicism shortly after the exorcism. Michael says, "All spook talks caused me to piss my Spider-Man underoos." Yeah, Shadow Man. Hello, Michael. Hello. Hello, hello. Yeah. Little else has been officially reported on the event by SLU or the Alexian brothers. Neither institution claims to keep extensive records of what is arguably the most famous, if not sensational, event in their history. Quote, "Oh yeah, we got this question every year around Halloween," says SLU archivist John Wade, barely suppressing a yawn. "We have a file on the exorcism, but it's mostly just newspaper clippings." In suburban Chicago, at the national offices of the Alexian brothers, archivist Donna Dahl keeps a tight rein on any information regarding the case. Quote, "This person was a patient and covered under the clause of confidentiality," says Dahl. "We don't release any information on our patients, no matter how bizarre the circumstances under which they were admitted." Within the chancellery, Father Williams Faltree, 90, and Frank Cleary, 76, are two of the handful of people still living with any institutional memory of the exorcism, and both men knew several of the SLU priests involved. "I was an undergraduate at SLU in 1949 when this was going on," recalls Cleary. who retired from teaching theology at the university a few years ago. There were plenty of rumors about it at the time. Cleary says it was only after the release of the film The Exorcist, 24 years after the St. Louis exorcism, that anyone made a big deal of the case. I tell students that it was probably not a bona fide case of possession, says Cleary. Jimbo says, Michael, hello. More hellos. Is that you in a one-oar rowboat again? Blew that rowboat to bits with C4. As for the welts and scrapes that rose up on the boy during the rites of exorcism, I'm told, said Clary, that is something people can do psychologically. It's like blushing. Father Flaherty, professor emeritus of history at SLU, isn't so sure. He knows his friend, Father Halloran, continued to believe in the possession up to his death earlier this year. You see from the gospel evidence of evil influence on the individual, and the gospel took those to be possessions, reflects Flaherty. I'll leave it up to the experts. Jimbo says, I've seen some crazy shit. I just got to catch it on video. Mr. Lee says, Lockbird, I will try to send you my encounter of poltergeists and all the information I've gathered. It can be important to people, as I was very effed up for a long time. Yeah, I think so, Mr. Lee. People, I mean, the hard thing is a lot of people just simply can't believe. They won't let they won't. Like, I can tell them all day long, you need to go, and if you study under the tutelage of Ken long enough, you will understand that this stuff that you call spiritual is scientifically explainable. It's just not mainstream science that's going to teach you about this, because mainstream science doesn't know every fucking thing. You have to go to the alternative, and you can try to disprove it if you want and try to figure it out thoroughly for yourself if you think you're smart enough to do it. But the reality is I do not think of this stuff as magical hocus pocus stuff. I think of it as science, because it is. Everything has a scientific explanation. It just, some things haven't been explained yet. Although spiritual stuff has. It has been explained. It's just, it's a lot for people to take in, right? It's a lot for them to take in. You're welcome, Mr. Lee. It's no problem at all. Regardless of the veracity of the possession, the exorcism clearly put an emotional and physical strain on all involved, especially Father William Baldern, who fasted throughout the duration of the lengthy ordeal. Quote, he must have had lost 30 to 40 pounds, recalls 80-year-old Betty Labarge, a relative of Baldern, who had the priest over for dinner late into the exorcism. He looked terrible, just fatigued. When we asked him what was wrong, he simply turned the conversation. It wasn't until years later we learned he played the leading role in the exorcism. Still, he never did talk about it. The word came from others involved. The only person still living in St. Louis with firsthand knowledge of the exorcism may be 86-year-old brother John Grider. He was one of dozens of Alexian brothers working in the hospital in 1949. Quote, I've never talked to the media about it, and I prefer to keep it that way, says the frail voice over the phone. It's not something that should be publicized. But try telling that to the residents of Roanoke Drive, where rumors persist that the Exorcist house remains a portal to the netherworld. Next door neighbor, Jean Costura, tells how the young couple living in the house years earlier complained of the northwest bedroom where the exorcism is said to have occurred, being eerily cold and drafty. Greg LaFontaine, a Belnor neighbor on nearby Bella Rive Drive, recalls the time he and his wife Elizabeth toured the house years ago when it was up for sale. Upon ascending the stairs, an illness swept over Elizabeth, who ran from the house. When her husband joined her on the front lawn, Elizabeth was adamant that they not purchase the home. Mike Willingham has heard all the tales and laughs them off. From 1991 to 1999, he and his wife Diane lived in the home before moving to the Central West End and later to a house in Mid-County. A no-nonsense insurance adjuster, William says he learned of the home's occult past only after he purchased it. So I guess not everybody has experiences there. Quote, sure, it came as quite a shock, he recalls, but Willingham maintains that nothing out of the ordinary ever occurred in the house while he lived there, and he assures future homeowners that they, too, have nothing to fear. We loved that house, he adds wistfully. Way I see it, the place was blessed so many times during the exorcism, it's probably the safest home in all St. Louis. Jimbo says, no disrespect, I got to bounce. I've got a few questions about a camera. Be cool, you too, Jimbo. Thanks for dropping in. We're going to wrap her up pretty quick. We do have a clip from the movie The Exorcist. Keep your head up, Jimbo, says Michael. Mr. Lee says, I've been watching Let the Right One In series on Paramount. You can get free subscriptions for 7 days. It's good. So in the earlier part of this article, they mentioned the scene of The Exorcist where apparently they called it masturbating with a crucifix. Well, I don't know if I'd call this masturbating with a crucifix. It looks like fucking stabbing yourself in the snatch. So are you guys ready for this? You ready for this shit? Because it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild.
him!
Oops, did it again. Well, anyway, you guys kind of figure about it. Mr. Lee's mom watched it in the theater. If you look around, you can find some interviews with some women who had just been in there to see the movie way back in the day, and they had some. It really messed with people. It really fucks some people up. Your mother sews socks that smell. What's that all about? Speak up. Uncle Bones, yeah. Michael says I'll be commando for the remainder of the stream. So I don't know. You think it's possible to? You think enough people would be interested in seeing such a project take place, purchasing the home for ongoing paranormal research? You think they would donate to a GoFundMe or Gifts and Go or whatever, Kickstarter, whatever it is? Call you Rambo Haywood then. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it just seems a shame that it's just sitting there and nobody's doing anything with it. They're just trying to sell it or rent it or whatever they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to live in it who are not like trying to research paranormal things. Icon says purchase the home and put a bunch of ionic breezes in there. Problem solved. Where's my cookies? Yeah, but I don't know that I'd want to actually, thoroughly clean the house out if you're going to try to investigate the paranormal occurrences in the house. You're not looking to wipe them out. Trying to figure out better ways of observing them and understanding what their true nature is. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, I wish I could give you some money. Thanks, Mr. Lee. Donald says, hell yeah, if Alt can get suckers to buy his BS cameras behind his house, this would be a good one to research. I mean, the only problem is the purchase price of the house, right? It'd be quite a bit of money required to pull off this situation. Donald says, but is it this house or the house where he originally became? He wasn't originally the according to the story, he was originally possessed in the house in Cottage City in Maryland. But he spent some time possessed in this home, and this is where some of the exorcism activities supposedly took place. And the other house, the other house, like the people living there, like there doesn't seem to be any stories of any ongoing activity with the other house, but this house there is. So, that's why this one's of interest. Icon says, I just want to see if it can be done. You're more than welcome to reinfest the home with spirits if you wish. Trying to spark gap generator that bitch, clean it out. Mr. Lee says, Donald, you possessed with the Vault Man? Obsessed with the Vault Man? Yeah, I think he is Mr. Lee. He is a little obsessed with the Vault Man. I've been trying not to watch Vault, but I keep getting links to Vault's videos. Was this what was the story with the dog and Cam's guy who got butted out? Huh? Got butted out. Donald says, yeah, I'm obsessed with putting out info of a bullshitter. Well, I will say this, for those individuals who have been sending me videos from Vault, like it's like hour or 2 hour long shows, and I don't know which part you're wanting me to look at. So at least give me a timestamp or something, or better yet, just screen capture a section of video and just email the video clip of the important part. But man, I'm not sitting and watching. I can't watch Vault for more than 15 seconds, man. The guy, I can't watch him. I don't know how anyone else watches him. He just, you're trying to focus on which of his two teeth to look at. And see Michael's commando kink now. Get it? Donald Fuller, you need at least 350 BU spreader to clean out that mess. What's going on out there? All right, everybody. Schultz. Yeah, I really don't want to watch any more Vault. If there's something important, like, is it important that I see it? Because I'm done. Like, I mean, I'm done. He's done. Like, I just. No, I heard a vehicle out there somewhere. Maybe somebody pulled in to drive or something. The dog's giving them what for, that's for damn sure. All right, everybody. I think it's time for us to throw Donald off a cliff. Yeah.
Type stuff. Exactly. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
Donald says, I like his last claim of being a POW. That's crossing the line. So a little bit of stolen valor going on. Is that what we got? A little stolen valor. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what his real military history is. I know that many of us do not take him seriously at all. I don't know how anyone takes him seriously. So I don't know. I don't know what else to do with him. But I do know that we've gone 42 minutes beyond 2 hours, so it's time to wrap her up. Thank everybody for coming, and I'll see you on the next one.